Welcome back to Unit 1.4 of the Body Mind Healing course. This unit, we want to give you a better description of how the course will work and how your assignments will work.
I will talk a little bit about the course schedule. Each week we start a different kind of a topic. We'll begin with an introduction to the course, move on to an introduction to the meaning of mind-body healing. Then in week 3, we'll talk about taking charge of our 100 trillion cells. In week 4, we'll practice the inner conversation. In week 5, we'll manage the chemistry of stress. In the following week, we'll talk about the chemistry of joy, love, and well-being. Then we will explore how we can create a healing environment for ourselves. And then in the following week, we'll talk about the healing environment that is created by the caregiver. So it's a different perspective. And then in the 9th week, we will discuss the mystery of healing, how we can embrace the unknown. And in the last week, we'll pull it all together and talk about how we can love ourselves and how we can integrate the learning of all the work that we've done so far.
In each week, there'll be 4 types of learning activities. Healing is a whole body, mind, spirit exercise, and so we want to be able to let each of those contribute to our understanding. So within each week, we'll begin with the left side of our brains with our intellectual understanding. This is enhanced by watching the videos, listening to any podcasts that are recommended, and of course the readings. And in each week we will have required readings, those that are recommended that you might really enjoy pursuing, if not now, in a later time. And then we'll also have the materials and studies that we used so that you can peruse them and look at them in more detail. The second very important piece is the practicing. We're going to begin the practicing of healing, developing what is a healthy mind, what is a healthy body, and then what is a healthy practice kit. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. The third element is to contribute all of this into a healing community. So we have a discussion forum, and we ask you to submit 1 forum post on the topic of the week. This should be a substantial post. And we'd also like you to post in your student lounges in response, we'd like you to respond in the discussion forum to a classmate's post. We're introducing what we hope will be a fun healing circle, the student lounge. This is a chance for just 4 of you to join together and share with each other, much as you would on Facebook, how you're progressing through the week, which ideas captivate you, what's come to mind. And we have some rules around that, though, that we think will make that experience more fun. Don't try to fix each other. Don't offer advice. What are the others, Susanna, that go with that? Don't fix, don't advise. Just hold that space as a witness, honoring whatever somebody offers and not feeling like you've got to be the one to save them. And lastly, we'll have a conference call where we get a chance to talk together at some point in the semester. We'll keep you informed.
And that's to be arranged. We'll figure out how we will do that and when we will do that.
Susanna, you want to talk about the evaluation process?
Sure. We'd like for each of you to submit a 1 to 2 page summary of your learnings each week and to drop those in the Dropbox. And you will also be able to get more guidelines on the discussion forum in writing so that you can refer to that as we go along. I'd like to talk a little bit more about the contributions to the discussion forum and the student lounge, or what we call now the circle, the healing circle. So in the discussion forum, we will ask you to make some postings based on the videos, the readings, and your own experience. That is what we call the original post. And then will be another post that in which you will respond to your classmates' post. In the student lounge or the healing circle, will Diana and I will post some prompts, ideas of the days, where you can interact with each other informally about a key idea that is contained in the unit. So the idea is really that in that context, you'll have the opportunity to develop the learning community and to ad lib a little bit more rather than the more formal postings in the discussion forum. So in the student lounge or in the healing circle, you'll be able to explore with each other as seekers on your journey, as peers, about what you're learning and what you like to experiment with. And like we said, the conference call is something that we will figure out as we go along.
We really believe that this course is about the best possible outcome for you as a person, as a human being, and that in fact trumps you as a student. So in terms of the relative amount of time that you spend on this course, we're hoping that half of it will be just for you. This time's for you. And we'll be doing healthy mind body exercises and the healthy practice kit, which I'm going to explain in just a minute. So Antioch estimates that this course is worth about 13 hours of your time. 7 hours of that, or an hour a day, goes to building new pathways within your mind and between your mind and your body. And then 6 hours is learning, contributing, and evaluating.
So the important piece is that on a daily basis, you will engage in some exercises that relate to a healthy mind, in some exercises that are movement practices or meditation practices or Qigong practices where you practice a healing body. And then in some practices related to writing or to doing some art projects that will contribute to your healing practice kit. So with all this, the overarching theme is set an intention for what it is that you want to do.
In the healthy mind practice, you begin by simply being aware of the state of your mind. You can use any of your own strategies to optimize your mind's health, or you can experiment with the healthy mind tools that we give you each week. We're trying to give you a range of options so you can assess which of these is optimal for you and develop your own variations. Use this as playtime and then share your results with what works with each other.
In the healthy body practice assignment, we'd like for you to be aware of the state of your body. We'd like to ask you to use your own strategies to optimize your body's health. We'll encourage you to experiment with the healthy body tools, to assess how these tools work for you, to develop your own variations, and to share your results.
Your first assignment at the end of this week is a fun and a creative one. We want you to create the container in which you'll gather information and your own steps along your journey. What's fun about this is to enjoy this process and find something that works for you. Pick your own metaphor. Maybe you're Lewis and Clark. What does your discovery journal look like? Maybe you're your own doctor and you've got a healing first aid kit. Maybe you're on a wilderness trek and there's a backpack you keep in the corner of your room that you stuff any information that you find exciting. I've had in my journey a lot of different means of trying to capture all that has captivated me. I've had a journal, I've had the backpack, I have 7 boxes stacked on top of my desk. And so what I use now that's helped create some order of my life is the application Evernote. And that might be something worth your checking out.
So the metaphors that you're using do matter because they require a different part of your brain to play with and to process. When we using words is oftentimes a left brain process, but if we convert those words that are signifiers in a much more concrete, specific way into metaphors, images, pictures, or stories, then we play with that in a whole different way, and we make it so much more personal. So the way you use metaphors can influence your decision making and your creativity. Creativity is really an important piece of right brain practice. And they are very powerfully tied to our senses. So metaphors can be very much embodied. So one idea that I had for creating this healing practice toolkit is if you wanted to create an altar on which you put all the artifacts that remind you of what is important, little sculptures, photographs, drawings, your journal, anything that presents a physical artifact that might remind you of what feels healing to you.
A journal is a key component of this kit, and we do ask you to have some form in which you keep track and write. Expressive writing has been shown to have very strong medical results. It can improve wound healing in older adults and women, and we've got that research posted for you. It's been used with veterans with post-traumatic stress syndrome. It helps you make sense of events and reduce distress. And for us, it's also just a way of becoming a personal lab.
Overall, we'd like for you to learn to distinguish what your own healing mindset is and how that looks different to a mindset that is not so healing. There's some wonderful quotes. One by Malcolm Gladwell in Outliers says that it takes about 10,000 hours to become a genius. So developing a healing mindset does take time and practice. It takes observation, it takes experimenting, but you will learn to distinguish between what is happening in your mind that feels healing and what is happening in your mind, and when it happens, that is not so healing.
Learn from your own lab. Now, as Susanna mentioned in the very first video, we are both anecdotes, studies of one. And it turns out that science does occasionally try to investigate what you can learn from the exception. How do you establish validity in this kind of qualitative research? These are the guidelines that scientists use. Describe in depth both the data and the analysis process. And this is awfully fascinating when we try to understand our own mental processes. Evaluate your own bias in interpreting the data. How you might, and the need to be honest, to say that actually it was 3 donuts and not 1 today. And then stay really open to alternative explanations. How the different people around you said things that you might have interpreted one way, but perhaps there's an alternative explanation for.
So very succinctly, there is an acronym for lasting change, which is SMART. And we found this in the Harvard HealBeat newsletter on January 2014. So SMART stands for set specific goals, find a way to measure change, make sure it's achievable, make sure it's realistic, and set time commitments.
By the end of this course, for your final assignment, we're going to ask you to make your own healing plan. After all of the investigation and experimentation that you've done this semester, what is it that you'd like to stick with and pursue further? I riffed off a a plan that a doctor from MD Anderson had, where he was trying to say if we could each just achieve this 5, 10, 15 plan, we would all be a lot healthier. And that could be as simple as 5 servings of fruits and vegetables, 10 minutes talking with your cells, and we're going to talk to you more about how that might be, 20 minutes in a joy protocol, 30 minutes moving your body. And if you're smart, you can figure out that you can actually just spend 30 minutes a day by doing a walking meditation in a place you love with a person you love and treat yourself to an apple afterwards and have completed the entire plan. But I actually am no longer too interested in all of the minutes. I am a positive deviant, and so I don't really respond too well to these kinds of strictures. I actually want to have my entire life be healing and every moment be as full as it can be. So if I were to rewrite my Be Well plan, it would be simply to eat well, listen well, love well, and move well. You'll get a chance to write your own at the end, and we look forward to seeing how you move and investigate and find your true inner self in this area over this course.